Imagine making £4 million in just 1 year. Well, tech sales is an industry that is often spotlighted in the US, but today I'm bringing you expert insights from somebody here in the UK. If you're as money driven as I am, you're in the right place, guys. Michael, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited because
Why?
I love money.
Yeah, I also I also know that from your other guests.
Yes.
I forgot, was it Jack? I can't remember. It was Jack.
Zach.
The recruiter, Zach.
Zach,
Yeah, there
yeah.
we go. That was a fun conversation to
Yeah,
listen
I
to.
was like, how much money can I make in tech? Like,
Yeah.
how can I maximize my earning potential? Because money equals like good quality of life, right? Like you can have more decisions, more empowerment of what you can do with your time, and hopefully where you then invest more of your resource, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. Tech sales, I hear a lot in the US. I make this much, I make that much, and I do this. And I bumped
Yeah.
into your TikTok. And I was like, tech sales individual in the UK? Do we have
I thought
this?
there was a lot of those, funny enough.
No,
There's
I
not,
haven't.
You know? Okay.
I haven't bumped into them. Maybe you know them because you're in
I
the
don't
industry.
actually. I just assume. I don't know. Maybe the algorithm hasn't pushed them your way, or
Yeah.
I don't know, because I know you found me through someone else
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Yes, I did. I found you through a mutual connection on TikTok, who's also a tech influencer. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of just understand, first of all, how one even becomes a tech individual, a tech sales individual. So should we start from the beginning? So what is tech sales?
Yeah, sure. So you've already you've warned me not to like make this too complicated.
Yeah, for those beginners.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to like simplify it as
Yeah.
much as I can.
Yeah.
So essentially, an individual like you and me could identify a problem a problem for an enterprise or a company that you think you can solve, right? Whether that be in the back office, the front office, whatever. Like you just might feel like, hey, there's operational efficiency in this company. I'm going to build a software to help solve that operational inefficiency, or there's like a productivity problem, and you feel like you can add some productivity gains to that company. So you build a software, and you'd build it on a cloud, right? Prior to historically, companies would build like softwares on premise, and like you'd hire like a little place like this. You put a lot of like servers in there, and yes, it's secure, but it's super hard to maintain. So most companies, just to save costs, they just transition to just build it on a cloud. So you could typically build a software, you could log into that software and access it by just entering a URL, right?
Okay.
And that's it. That's tech sales. And then you might be like, okay, hey, I want to solve this problem for company A. But hey, to build software costs a lot of money, right? You got to go hire engineers to do it. You got to hire product people to build a product. So then you might go and raise some money from, venture capital, who typically are essentially folks that just have a ton of money to throw at a company for obviously some returns, right? That's the essence of it. So you maybe go to a venture capital, and you might say, hey, like I need 10 million, or I need 5 million, or whatever. Like you just need a certain amount because, you want to hire some folks to help you build this product. They say, great, I get it. I get the vision. This could work. There's a market for it. There's product market fit, blah, blah, blah. They check all the boxes, say, hey, here's 10 million check. Go and do what you want to do with it. Then you say, great, thanks for the 10 million. I'm going to go build a software to solve a productivity problem for company A. You build the product, you hire people to build a product, you hire a sales team to go and sell the product to a particular sector or vertical and industry. You make some money and you continue making money, you continue to build a business, and then you get to a point whereby, you've built the business to a certain amount of valuation. You might say, okay, we've got, we've got 25 million in the bank. You get a 4x valuation on top of that. Your company's worth 100 million. And then you might then go raise another round to do more stuff, to build more product, become a multi-product company instead of a single product company. And they just keep going and going and going. And that's where you get this thing called series. You get Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D. Point, maybe you go and raise a Series E round worth, 200 million. You got 200 million in the bank. You continue to iterate on your product, continue to hire some senior people. Eventually, you just want to exit. You either want to get acquired by a bigger company, or you want to, float on the public markets, which then means that your shares can be bought by people, and then that's really how people then retire.
You sound like the CEO's favorite person.
Why?
because you're like the sales department, and he's like, your department are making me all the money in the world. So
yes, we are a pretty important department. Yes, for sure. Sales is crucial.
yeah. So okay, so you've talked about the different phases that the
Mhm.
software development would go through, and then you get to a point where you're selling. I imagine tech sales would have different layers, right? So different people involved. So you have the, I believe, frontliners who are the cold callers who do those kind of that kind of role. And then what are the roles? I guess what are the roles from let's say there's 10 roles. What different roles could you identify within the section or the department of tech sales?
Yeah, sure. There's a ton. There's
Okay.
a ton. So, and I did this on my TikTok as well because I'm making a conscious effort to highlight the distinction between this tech, there's wanting to get into tech, and there's wanting to get into tech sales, right? And so tech is like, the software testers, like the QA, like the people that are in the back end, right? The engineers, the product folks, right? The people that are really building what you type into a URL and see. Then there's the tech sales folks. So those are, we call them go-to-market. And go-to-market roles you'll find are very much customer facing. So you start right at an entry level. You start a sales development rep. That's usually like, you're just starting off your tech career. You don't know anything about tech sales. You don't even know how to maybe sell software. But that is the first role you start. That is where you build skin in the game, as I put it. So you do that for maybe 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, depending on how good you are. And then you progress into an account executive. And then you can get into leadership if you smash it as an account executive. So that's like the folks that you said are picking up the phone to the companies that potentially could be a good fit for the product you're trying to sell. You're trying to get a meeting with a decision maker in that business to get a demo of the platform to then hopefully make a decision to buy. Then you have pre-sales, or we call them sales engineers or solution engineers. Pre-sales have a ton of different names, but under umbrella we call them pre-sales, and those are the folks that are a bit more technical. They're very good at value selling. They're very good at demoing a solution. They're very good at the technical aspects, the back end talk about integrations, etc. Very good at that stuff. Then you have the customer success roles as well. So those are the folks that once you make the sale. Actually, there's kind of a role in between sales and customer success. We call them professional services. Professional services or implementation consultants. So those are the people that once you've made the sale, they go into the business and implement the product and do the enablement and the rollout of the product across the company you've sold it to. So let's just say you've sold to company A. There's 1,000 people that work for company A. This 1,000 people are the 1,000 people that are going to be using this product you just sold. You need an implementation person to go in and sell this product and roll out this product that you just spent, I don't know, $100,000 a year on, right? You have to have someone that goes in and trains the people and rolls it out, make sure everything's set up from an IT perspective, everything's just working properly. Then they get passed on to a customer success who's responsible for the customer lifecycle. So they're basically essentially the people that make sure the customer's happy and don't want to churn. Churn, again, for the sake of what you've asked me, is what is churn? Like, this is your customer success is responsible for make sure the customer stays and doesn't leave and doesn't walk out the door.
Problem solving. So let's say, for example, I think from what you've described, there's more of a user acceptance process where the user then can accept that, okay, this is the product, we're happy with it, it's working well.
Correct.
And then you have somebody who manages expectations.
Correct.
So maybe if there's bugs or whatever,
right,
you want to.
So this is interesting, right? So there's also kind of a bit of a breakdown there.
Okay.
So there's customer success, and like kind of after customer success, you have support. So they work with customer success. So you have customer success who are mainly responsible to make sure customers happy. They are the people that there's also different roles. So it's such a breakdown.
So big.
So yeah, exactly. Like it's a lot. So you've made the sale, implementation, have gone in to implement a product. Then there's kind of like three kind of other roles that influence what happens after.
Okay.
So we call that process post-sale.
Okay.
Right? After.
Yeah.
So you have account managers. Some companies merge account managers and customer success managers together, but companies that have maybe a more complex go-to-market motion would have account managers as one role, customer success as another role, and then support as another role. And I'll kind of give you a one-liner on what those three people do post-sale. So account managers are guys that manage the account and do upselling and cross-selling. So if you upselling is when, you've maybe sold a product so your sales guy has sold this product for 1,000 people. Company A might then go and hire another 100 people that need this product. The account manager is a person says, oh, this 100 people you've hired, they could also use the product. Here is an invoice for, an extra, I don't know, 10 grand for this 100 people, right? So that's what we call an upsell. When you've taken the contract from 100 grand a year to maybe 110 grand a year, right? And then those account managers also do something called cross-selling. So if you're a multi-product company, that's when it only really makes sense to cross-sell. If you're a multi-product company, so you've built maybe 3 or 4 different products that company A could use, you maybe sell product A for for 100 grand initially. Then you could see that actually there's an opportunity to sell product B and C as well. So you might then sell product B and C for 20 grand each. So then you've grown the contract book from 100 grand to 140 grand, right? So that's what a cross-sell motion is. So that's account manager. Then customer success, obviously, you just make sure customers happy, they're happy with the products, blah, 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 blah. They're not trying to pull the plug, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have support. So support are the guys that when there's a bug, when there is something going wrong in a product, those are the people you contact. Okay. Those are the more technical people that just know the more kind of back end. Hey, this is not working. I'll support you. Raise a ticket. Ticket goes to support. They fly in. They're like, blah, blah, blah. Fix it. Good. Off you go. Done. So that is essentially, there's maybe 6 or 7 different roles in just customer facing alone. So SDR, account executive. Then you have all the leadership stuff. And then you have customer post sale. So this is before the sale, it's BDR, SDR, AE, right? Before the customer comes into your company as a customer. Then you have kind of the post sale. So pre-sale, post sale. Break it down into those. Pre-sales is SDR, AE, solutions engineer, sales engineer. Post sales account managers, customer success, support. That's really how you break it down. And then in the middle of all of that, there's a lot of stuff going on, revenue operations, it's customer operations, it's a lot of more kind of operational roles that we don't really need to talk about today.
Yeah.
But happy to if you want to. But essentially, that's the essence of go-to-market.
That gives me a really good view and perspective of your sector of tech sales. But I guess, where is the money?
It's a great question.
Where do I make the most money? Because I'm hearing a lot of front facing, a lot of transferable skills. Yeah. But then now I'm hearing that I could make the wrong decision if I'm looking for money. I'm hearing there's 6 possibilities here that I could choose a discipline within tech sales, but I might choose the wrong one. So what's the earning potential generally within tech sales, and how do you maximize it?
So the money sits with the account executives.
Okay.
Those are the folks that are making the bank.
Which are pre-sales.
Those are pre-sales.
Yeah, okay.
Those are the folks that are making the real cash.
Okay, cool. So £4 million you managed to...
Well, £4 million I brought into the company.
You managed to bring into the company. Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So you were able to bring in £4 million to a company that you were working for.
Yeah.
Yeah? So what does that look like for your pocket?
A lot. it's a lot.
Okay.
So I'll give your viewers the maths. Do 10% of whatever that is.
Okay, cool. So now, were you an account executive
Correct.
at that point? Okay, cool. So how does you earn basically? I think you broke this down one time on your TikTok as well, where you were talking about the base salary and then the commission.
Yeah.
So can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah. Because a lot of people seem to. So TikTok's a really funny place where people just make videos just to get views.
Yeah.
I really don't care about that too much. Yeah. I think I'm just trying to demystify the space and demystify the industry and just make tech sales really easy to understand. So in that, you'll find TikTok videos of folks that, it's funny because I was doing some research, right? And I don't even know how I got down this rabbit hole. I was just like, let me go and find all these tech sales influencers, and let me just see the credibility on their page. Like, I want just see the credibility because they're great. Like, you go on their page, they've got thousands of views. Like, people are just like, yeah, like I want to get into tech sales, so I just want to see the credibility. And the kind of person I am, just generally, I'm just like I'm not really listening to you if you don't have like credibility,
like I need
right?
to see like your receipts.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went on some of this influencers page, right? And like most of them are like just like they've just been in tech for like a year. And they're telling people like how to get into tech sales. And I find that really funny, but it tells you a lot about human beings.
The culture
right?
that we're in right now is just, is it a viral video?
Yeah.
And
basically.
is it one of those that gets your attention?
Yeah.
And whatever. But it's like, guys, look past that.
Yeah.
You need to even go on their LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Go and see their credibility. Like, see if they've actually got years behind them.
Yeah.
Because I would not listen to anybody with no experience.
Right. So this is the really interesting thing, right? And like at one point I have to stop this rabbit hole because if I'm like, I really want to get into it, I'll go and let their TikTok. Like, they're great at telling you about, oh, like, this is how you like smash an interview, or this is the role, this is what a BDR role is, or an SDR role is, and this is how much you can make. And then you find out you've just been doing this for a year. And then on top of that, like, how successful have you been in that role? Because that's the thing, right? Tech sales influencers are very good at telling you how to get in.
How much are you actually making though?
They're not very good at telling you how successful they are, or they're not very good at telling you how to stay in. So, but here's the thing, here's the society we're in. Everyone's just looking for quick wins, quick money. You know, how can I get on the 60, 70, 80K, blah, 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 blah. That's a really hard thing to do. Like, I've not met one influencer, or I call them influencers, but whatever, that's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
I've not met one that's actually made a video like, guys, this is how you pass probation, right? There's a 6-month probation.
Or even better, this is how I interview for a role, right? Because one thing that I think, because you're in managerial kind of position, right? How can you give me advice on how to pass an interview if you've never been in an interviewer's position? Right? That's the question. It's like, really how are you giving me this advice if you've never been an interviewer?
But you know what? This is the society we're in. Everyone's looking for quick wins. Anyone that says, oh yeah, like I made 60K, I've made 70K, all of a sudden just has instant credibility. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, in my first year as an SDR, or entry level, which was maybe 8 years ago now, I made like 70, 80 grand, right? Like, I wasn't on TikTok, at that time. Like, this is how I got into tech sales. Like, this is how I'm just like, mate, I gotta earn skin in the game here. Do you get what I mean? So, anyway, the money's at the account executives stage. I believe that's the question we're still on.
Yes.
And those are the folks that are making a ton of cash. I mean, as an account executive, I mean, there was a year I took home like nearly 250 grand. So like the earning potential is huge, like huge. And again, there's so many dependencies. It depends on the company you're working for. What stage are they at? What stage of growth are they at? Are they about to go public, or are they still a Series A early startup, right? The earning potential at both stages, completely different. Yeah. Do they have product market fit? Because that would then have dependencies on your income, because if they don't have product market fit, it means that your product's not gonna you're not gonna go past maybe Series B, right? You're not gonna have skin in the game for a very long time, right? So product market fit is so important. And for those listening, I don't know what product market fit is. It's basically this product you are selling, is there a huge market for it? Do a lot of people want it or not? That then, of course, it's hugely dependent on what you take home every single year. So the product I was selling, that I delivered kind of 4 million, huge product market fit, huge, because we were selling to tech companies that were at a certain stage, and they all had a specific problem that they were trying to solve. Huge total addressable market, huge. So not just me, but a lot of account executives at that company made a lot of money. Yeah. Right. So there were folks that they were making in one paycheck in a month, they were taking home 500 grand. In one paycheck.
That's amazing.
That's the earning potential. I'm not joking.
Oh my goodness.
There are people that, they'll show you their, I don't know, in America, they call it a W-2, here it's a P60, whatever. It's $1 million under. Right? So in one deal that you did, you're a millionaire.
Oh my God.
Right? That is the earning potential as an account executive. So when like, of course, when we're all making a lot of noise in tech sales, like, oh yeah, like get into it. Like I'm a black guy. Like it's very rare for a black guy. Like in my company, I'm not there anymore. But in my company, out of 60, maybe 60, 50, 60 account executive, I was the only black guy.
Wow.
Right. So from a, kind of BAME perspective, I'm trying to get as many people that look like me into the industry, right?
Please recruit
because
me, because I'm hearing 1 million,
Do you know what I mean?
500,000. Yes, please.
So like I'm trying to just get as many like guys, like if you've got the talent,
Yeah.
if you've got the talent, you've got the grit, you've got the work ethic,
yeah,
you can. Do you
Get
get what I mean? Like I'm
in.
not an anomaly,
Yeah.
right? I'm not better than anyone. Like
Yeah.
I learned everything. I had to learn stuff. You have to be around the right people. You have to make the right kind of moves to get to where I am. That's this there's a method to it.
Yeah.
Followed, and that's why I doing this like kind of mentorship thing. Like there's a method to it. I've done it. So I've got the playbook for it.
Yeah.
Follow it. You can do the same. But here is what you hear from a lot of people that maybe look like me or maybe don't look like me about tech sales is you have to work really, really hard. You hear that, oh my God, I don't really like making cold calls. I don't like being rejected, blah, 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 blah. So I have this program, as you know, right, where I'm just trying to get people through the door. And I vetted people, right? Because I'm not like, I don't really care. Like, it's a paid program. You have to pay for my time. Like, you get what I mean? So I said to folks, like, guys, I'm going to vet you. I'm not going to bring you into the program.
You're not accepting just anyone.
Just anyone.
Yeah.
So there's some people I spoke to, they're like, yeah, I want to get into tech sales, but I don't really like cold calling. I'm like, no, this is not going to work.
This isn't it.
This is not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, go do something else. Go and stick in your nursing career. Like, just stay there. Like, or go do something else. Like, tech sales is not for you.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a certain
acceptance
level
to
of
rejection, basically.
You have to have thick skin.
Yeah.
Really, really thick skin.
Yeah.
Because you get rejected every day. So
every day.
Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea. But yeah, to answer your question, you can make whatever you want. Your word's your oyster.
Okay, so you talk about base salaries in your in your videos. So what is a typical base salary that somebody could have, and then the commission? What does that look like?
Got it. Again, depends what level you are.
Okay.
So entry level, I've seen companies that pay 25K as a sales, like your entry level role. If anyone listening wants to get into tech, you have to be an SDR if you want to get into tech sales. Right now, if you want to get into the other tech roles, like you want to get into software development, engineering, then yeah, you may do like a tech boot camp, learn how to build code or write code, whatever, and then like do that. But my expertise is tech sales. You have to start as a sales development rep. And your base could be anything from 25 to 42. That's dependent, again, as all the stuff I said earlier, complexity of the product. Like if it's a super complex product in a super niche industry, you easily get on a 40, 50K basic.
Okay.
If you're working for maybe a humongous company, sell multiple different products that are easy to sell, blah, 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 blah. Maybe your basic might be smaller. So it depends on a lot of things. Like American companies pay much higher basics than UK-based or UK headquartered companies. So it just really depends, right? Okay. Depends on the product, depends on the company, depends on what growth stage they're at, depends on the addressable market. It's not as simple as just, oh, here is a basic. Like there's method to it. Like there's a reason why basics fluctuate.
Yeah.
So that's an SDR. As a account, so there's no such thing as an entry level account executive. They might be in some companies that just don't really have a revenue operations person or a finance department that really understand how this works. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as an entry level account executive.
You have to be quite senior.
You have to be like, But even if there is an entry level account executive, I guarantee you the company is not truly a software or enterprise software company.
Okay.
Because there's no VP of sales that's going to trust someone that's never done sales before to be an account executive and to put a 200K a quarter number in your head. Like, no way.
Yeah.
So you earn your stripes as a sales development rep, you earn skin in the game, you build a reputation, then you progress to becoming an account executive. Then what will likely happen is your basic will grow. And by the way, as a sales development rep, you do get commission as well. So you probably land, as an example, let's say you land a 35K base. Right, my first sales development role, my base was 37K, and I think on top of that they paid me an extra 25 to 30. Right, so overall my package was maybe around 65, 67, 30, 70.
Okay.
So you can expect that.
Okay.
Right. And they usually use this model of 50-50. So 50K, your total compensation package will be 50K, 50% of it will be your basic. Then they say they use this term called double OTE or double OTC. OTE is on target earnings. So if you hit your target, you earn this much. Or OTC is on target commission. If you hit your earnings, you earn this much. Same thing. Account executive, your base will be kind of then start floating around maybe 65, 70, 75. Now, just as there are different roles in the pre-sales and post-sales motion, there are also different roles in just the account executive motion. So there's SMB, so medium, small business, whatever. So there's SMB account executives. There is commercial, there is mid-market, there's enterprise, and there's strategic. So again, one liner, I'll break it down for you. So SMB, if you're an SMB account executive, you're probably targeting very small businesses from maybe 5 people to, 100 people. If you are commercial, it's maybe like 100 to 500 employees, 100 to 1,000 employees. Mid-market is kind of that 1,000 or maybe 500 to 1,000, 500 to 2,000. Enterprise is like 2,000 to maybe 5,000 employees.
Wow.
Strategic is then like 10,000 employees plus. Now, the higher you go, so it's like you'll start as an SMB. Some companies don't have an SMB motion. They'll maybe have a commercial motion. You maybe start SMB commercial. You work your way up. So let's say that you start as a SDR. You've like earned your stripes. You've done really well, smashed your target, done really well. You've built a good personal brand. You get promoted to a commercial account executive. And then if you do really well, you smash it, you go to mid-market if they have a mid-market motion. And then you go to enterprise. Some companies just have commercial and enterprise. So you just go from commercial to enterprise. And then you go to strategic. Most companies will have a SMB commercial, mid-market, enterprise, strategic. And your base goes up every time. Right. So then commercial will be maybe 75K base, double OTE. So your package will be 75 plus 75, whatever that is. Do the maths. And enterprise account executive would probably be anything from 85, 95 to then maybe 115, 120 base. Double OTE. So your package could be anything from 160 to 240, 250K
base.
Total package. Because you won't make 200 as an account executive. Like, it's very, very rare that you will make 250K base. Very rare. Very rare. But you will tend to make that if you've had a good year, you will make that. Strategic, you're then at the 170K base area and the reason why that is because these roles are usually, they get more strategic. Again, like, let me just simplify it. I'm basically saying the higher you go, the more work you have to do to close a deal. So strategic account executive, their sales cycle or how long they take to close a deal is probably anything from 12 months to 24 months on one deal. But then when they close the deal, they're going to close it for 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. Guess how much their commission is then? When you're closing a 50 million deal.
I don't even.
Do 10% of that.
That's crazy.
That's a 5 million paycheck.
That is crazy. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So then who cares about your basic anymore?
Yeah.
Right? Where you've just done a 50 million deal.
Yeah.
So like, you hear this term, we don't go into tech sales for the basic. Like,
you're aiming for the commission.
We're not going into tech sales for your basic. Like, your basic is just meant to pay your bills.
Yeah. You're aiming for the commission.
You're aiming for you want to be closing like any. So
you have to be a very driven person.
Very driven person.
Like extremely driven.
Extremely good at relationship building.
Yeah.
A lot of the strategic accounts, imagine like walking into a KPMG or Deloitte and trying to close a deal with them, like, or walking into, I don't know, a Walmart or a BP, like, or Shell that have thousands, and you're trying to close a deal with, a CIO or a chief information officer or a chief revenue officer. That will take you a bloody long time.
Yeah, and you
Bloody
have
long
to have
time.
such belief in like
Yeah.
yourself,
And you have to be very process orientated. Like you
yeah,
can't as the higher you go, there's no winging it anymore.
yeah,
Right? There's no winging it. To close a 5 million deal, it's not possible to wing it.
yeah.
You have to be so process orientated. And that's why you hear like selling, enterprise selling is not for everyone.
Okay, so you are a mentor in the tech sales space.
Yeah.
So I want to know, I'm either transitioning into tech or transitioning from a different role in tech. What are the first steps that I need to take to become, let's say, eventually an account executive? But what are the steps to even entry level? What are the criteria that you go through to choose the people that you mentor? What characteristics? Because you talked about people
Yeah.
not being good at cold calling.
Mm.
I'm guilty of that. I think if I have a really bad emotional day, someone just telling me no on the phone will probably send me over. I don't think I have
Yeah.
the grit for it. But
Yeah.
what kind of characteristics would I need to have? And then what steps do I need to take initially? And then obviously we've talked about eventually you'll be promoted to account executive. But what are the initial steps if I wanted to get into this?
Okay, so you sit in your bedroom and you're like, I want to get into tech sales.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things like you need to reflect on. I think just write on a notebook or something. It's like, okay, what are my soft skills? What are the soft skills that I'm really good at? And for me, I think the most talented people that I know and worked with, curiosity is number one.
Okay.
Like just an insatiable kind of level of curiosity. Like they're exceptionally good at trying to understand the why. They don't just stop at, kind of think about onion, right? Peeling the onion. They're not, they go deeper. They get as deep as they can. And those are the people that are making 5 million a year. They are very, very good at asking questions to get better understanding. So that's like number one characteristic. If you're not a curious person, don't even think about it. Tech sales is not for you. The second thing is they're very, very good. Second thing is they're very tenacious, very gritty. So they don't take not they don't take no for an answer, because I feel like that's just a bit of a weird statement. I've never agreed with that, because sometimes you do need to take no for an answer. It's an answer. It's a no.
Yeah.
Right, just take it. But they are very good. They're very perseverant. You say no to them on the phone. They are very good at spinning it and just turning your no into a yes. But sometimes I've said this to people, like sometimes timing's just off, right? It's like, I don't know, if a guy comes to a girl and be like, oh, I want to date you, but you're just not in that headspace. You're in your single era. You just like, got to work on myself, blah, blah, blah. You're going to say no. Imagine then how irritating it would be if the guy just keeps chasing you. I'm like, dude, I'm in my single era.
Yeah,
like,
leave me alone.
I'm working on myself.
Yeah.
Right, I've got some stuff to deal with. It's the same with software. Not everyone's ready to buy
Wrong
software
timing,
at the
yeah.
time that you approach them.
Right.
So that's why it's again, like it's all of that matters. But yeah, super like gritty, tenacious. They're very confident people, not arrogant. They're confident. So that then comes across in the way they communicate. They're very clear in the way they communicate. So that's really difficult to find. It's a very difficult skill to find. Very, very calm, very composed. They are very like stable emotionally, because sales can tip you over the edge, right?
I am not.
Yeah.
I am just getting disqualified every time you talk.
Sorry to hear.
I'm like disqualified. I am not emotionally stable.
Yeah.
I am the most emotionally unstable person there is.
Yeah, maybe you got some work to do.
Do you know what? If I was a tech salesperson, I would need a counselor sitting right next to me, like, you're gonna be fine. It's okay.
So like, there's so many memes online of like people that go into tech sales. You've seen memes of like, I don't know, like famous actors, and they look beautiful, the makeup's done, blah blah, and then the next to it is a picture of them like
looking terrible. And that's a tech sales agent. The before and after.
Literally. So like I think it's super, super important. Like if you're gonna be successful in that industry, you also need to have some level of like accountability to looking after your health, your mental health. People don't last long. because sales will challenge you. It will push you because it is quarter over quarter, month over month pressure. Like there's a pressure to deliver. And like if you think about it, right? If you have kids, if you have a family to feed,
Pressure.
they are. If you lose your job, you have. Do you get what I mean? So you wake up every day and you're like, I got to put food on the table. So you got to go make it happen. So when your day is just like when you're getting no's, imagine how that makes you feel. Like it's a super frustrating day. So that is the pressure that not a lot of people can handle long term. And hence why comes back to your question around characteristics. Grit. So I would say those are like the main three. The main three is just kind of grit, curiosity, super confident person. Like I wouldn't call it gift of the gab. Again, I don't know if I believe in that. I think I would maybe flip it and be like, if you know how to sell value, you'll be successful.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then starting with like an entry level frontline kind of
SDR.
position.
Yeah.
SDR.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Cool.
need those. And then the demands are more. The more you go up, the demands are more.
Yeah.
Right? The demands on your soft skills are more. So you go from someone that needs to be able to pick up the phone and convince a Rachel to go on to take a meeting to someone that now has to take a customer through a 3, 6, 9 month sales process.
Yeah.
So now the demands are more.
Yeah.
You're not just picking up the phone, hey, book a meeting, blah, blah, doing a pitch.
Yeah.
That's the SDRs get paid on meetings booked, right?
Yeah.
But when you're an account executive, it's more, do you have the aptitude to build a relationship over 3 months? Do you have the talent and the soft skills to keep someone engaged and to drive them to take action? That is hard. That is really hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I think disqualifies most of the economy or most of the population from tech sales. It's like, how can I take Marcia to like start here and end up in 6 months still engaged?
Yeah.
How can I drive you to take actions internally with your stakeholders, challenge your political capital to make things happen internally to get this deal done? That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do that.
No. And I was even having a thought, because I remember asking you about this actually, where, you know, because I'm quite technical. I've come from a software testing background. So I'm thinking, well, I could maybe do something with that skill, but then that's not in the money section that you've mentioned. So
sorry. Unfortunately.
So damn it, I can't do that.
Well, I mean, I listened to your podcast with Zach, and you know, you can make decent contracting money.
I'm comfortable in the testing world.
You know what I mean? You can do it, right?
I'll stick to the contracting
You can
world
do it right
and
with a
in software
contractor,
testing.
yeah.
I think that one, I really like software testing because as much as there's high pressure to deliver products at a specific time, I am the only person or one of the people who have the power to stop a release, to just be like, no, it's not happening.
It's not ready.
Because it's not ready. So I don't have the pressure of it has to be. It's like, no, but it's not ready. Like, and I will tell you it's not ready. You can release it, but I have told you not to because we've got this major bug. So I do feel the pressure of like, we have to edit. I mean, we have to so tailor our particular work to a time frame. Okay. Yes, we work for a time frame, but we don't necessarily work towards a deadline that's non-negotiable. Basically, it's always negotiable. Got it. It's always we can always work around it.
Got it.
Anyway, so how do people reach you? How do people get on this program that you have? Because you've talked about it and you're mentoring people. How do people say, hey, I want to join this mentorship program that you have and I want to do this and I want you to be my mentor?
Message me.
Quite simple. Yeah. I love that.
Just message me. Okay. We'll get a call. Just from like, I started my TikTok page, I don't know, maybe 5 months ago. I remember. And the intention was just to help. So I'm not adverse to getting on. Like people message me, oh Michael, I need help. Like, let's get on a call. Because I can't.
Texting, yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's just too much information to give you, right? To do it over text. So just drop me a note. We'll get on a call.
You do the qualifying interview section where you're like, Rachel, this is not for you.
Yeah, I'll be very honest with you.
I love that.
I'll be very honest.
At least you're managing people's expectations of the role itself, and I think you're doing a really important step of gatekeeping in a good way.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, this will destroy you.
Yeah.
Don't come here.
Correct.
Yeah.
You will burn.
You will
crash and
burn.
burn. It's not for you.
Yeah, so I think it's good that you do that, and I think it's quite commendable, because a lot of people just take people's money, and then they know this person's not cut out for this.
Yeah.
But they'll train them anyway.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've had folks that even I'm just like, if you're financially, like, if you can't do it, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Like, if you've got rent to pay, like, just
because it's a risk.
It's a risk.
Yeah.
Like, it's a risk. Like, even the
Yeah.
program, I did make a commitment to my mentors that, listen, like, my mentee, sorry. Like, if this doesn't work out, I'll give you half of it back. Like,
oh, that's nice.
do you get what I mean? I don't need to hoard your cash. Like,
yeah.
if you've got bills to pay, it's not like, I had a call the other day with a girl that reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I was like, hey, like, here's the cost. But then I was like, you can go and do this by yourself. And I was like, I just gave her the two options. Like, listen, if I were you,
do it by yourself.
you can go do this by yourself. Like, if you just, and I kind of broke it out. I even told her, like, step by step, this is what I would do. If you want to get to tech sales, this is what I would do, step by step. If you can do it, do it by yourself. If you want kind of a more intimate, coaching
One-to-one,
thing, blah, blah, then cool. Like, we can have a conversation. But I'm not going to make you feel like you need me to get to tech sales. Like, no.
No, and I think I do that as well when people get in contact with me and they're asking for advice, and sometimes they want specific. So if they're on a budget, for example, I always say, listen, there's Udemy. Anybody who's a software tester or a software developer will teach you things on Udemy.
Yeah.
Go on Udemy, get a £20 course.
Yeah.
Don't pay £1,000 for a course, or don't pay for me to be your consultations every week. It's gonna cost a lot of money. Like, just have one consultation and come back when you've done all your courses, and then I'll give you more, like, maybe interview prep or something like that.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's not. There's no need to gatekeep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Just give people the information they need to go make things happen if they need, and that's it.
So where do you see tech sales going? Is it going to be something that is, within the next 5 to 10 years, is it going to get bigger? Is it going to get more of a demand for tech sales agents? Do you think it's going to be something that...
That's so funny. Such a funny term. Tech sales agents. Make it sound like we're robots.
You guys must be, for you to not be having all these emotions being affected. I don't understand.
No, we have emotions. We just know how to manage them.
Okay. Unlike me.
You said it, not me. No, it's just gotta be, resilient. I don't know. Like, I guess when you weigh up this is how much I can earn, am I willing to put myself through, like, crap
pain
to earn it?
Yeah.
That's really what you're weighing up.
Yeah.
It's like, am I willing to take the political crap, the emotional, imbalances some days, the roller coasters? Is it worth it?
Is it worth
$200K?
And it is worth it for some people, absolutely. And for you, it works. So, I mean, going back to the question, is it something that you think people should discipline themselves to be like, okay, I think I could work quite well in this industry? Will there always be work? Because obviously there's so many tech companies booming. Is this an industry that's going to continue to grow, do you think?
100%. Tech sales is here to stay, especially with the rise or boom in AI. Now, this is quite conflicting because a lot of people think in software that AI is going to replace humans.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I think AI is going to make humans more productive and help us spend our time in more value-driven tasks. Like, when AI is going to take away all the kind of inefficiencies and manual tasks that we do on a day-to-day basis, because as salespeople, we do a lot of manual admin, unfortunately. So AI is gonna, be super, super useful there. I don't think AI can sell because there's a lot of emotional, nuances in a sale.
Yeah.
Right, you're building a relationship with someone that could become a lifelong friend. Like, I still have some of the people I've sold to on my WhatsApp and we text. Right, some of my customers were friends. So you're building. AI can't do that. Right. So you're building long-lasting relationships with folks. Sometimes, like, they're salespeople that they build such a relationship with their customers. They go to their house. They know their wives. They know their family members. Like, AI can't do that.
Yeah.
So AI is not coming to take over humans. It's going to replace a lot of, like, the roles that can be done more efficiently, that can be automated, like, kind of just admin stuff. You're seeing AI having, like, Salesforce, obviously. Salesforce, obviously, they had Dreamforce recently, and they've release this kind of AI agents that are going to help kind of more manufacturing companies, or just companies that have folks sitting in contact centers or call centers somewhere, and or they're bots that basically have, when a customer, maybe like an individual like me, comes onto a website and we're just like, I have some questions about something, like instead of having like someone that like a chatbot, right? AI is replacing all those
I've tested chatbots before for a couple of clients.
So AI is gonna help a lot with that,
replacing with like customer service.
But I think sellers are sellers. The sellers, I will tell you, that are going to survive are the ones that I talked about, that are super curious, the ones that are extremely good at, selling value. Those sellers are not going anywhere. And they're the ones that are going to get paid for more and more and more.
So what's the best career advice you've ever received?
The best career advice I've ever received. I saw the question list that you sent me, and I knew that this was going to be like one of the tougher ones because there's a lot of advice I've gotten, and it's really hard to pick the best ones.
It's hard.
But I think one that resonated with me, that just really hits home recently in terms of that kind of serves my career objectives, is the whole concept. And I made a video on it, I think on LinkedIn the other day, around missionaries and mercenaries. So mercenaries are folks that, they're working in a company and they just really struggle to follow the process. They struggle to follow the messaging. They struggle to adhere to the cadence. They just want to do whatever the hell they want, when they want to do it, how they want to do it. Those folks, you don't want them on your team. Those are folks that they're culture destroyers. They're folks that, they're just not good for any kind of good team dynamic you're trying to build. And there's the missionaries, who they follow the cadence, they follow the process, they follow the messaging. They are folks that they are really interested in serving the business. And that's a kind of key thing that's resonated with me, is be an employee that serves the business. Because especially in sales and tech sales, it's very easy to go rogue. It's very, very easy to go rogue. It's very easy to just do things that don't follow maybe a commercial policy that the company has in place. So be a missionary, not a mercenary.
Not be disagreeable, basically.
They're those folks that are out there that we call them, there's a term for them in sales, we call them lone wolves.
Okay.
They're just like,
they just do whatever they want to do. Not a team player. And you don't want a ton of those. You can maybe tolerate having one on your team, but as a leader, you don't want more than one. Yeah. So you're active on socials.
Am I?
Yeah.
Socials doesn't make me feel like I am. I'm telling you, mate. There's so much pressure.
Maybe it's us not being Gen Zs.
Yeah. I'm always hearing there's always a video I see every day. Oh, you got to post every day. You got to post twice a day. I feel like I have a job. I don't have time.
I literally have a job.
I have a job.
Literally. But then that's how you know who the real tech influencers are.
Yeah.
We're busy working. We can't post every day.
We're trying to put food on the table.
Exactly.
We're not trying to be famous.
If someone is posting every day, don't listen to them.
No.
They don't have a job.
Even the time to even think of the content, it's so hard.
It's literally, and if you actually have a full-time job and you can't be doing that 24/7.
It's hard.
But I meant that you are active, as in people can find you.
Oh,
on
yes.
TikTok. Are you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
I need to kind of follow up. Instagram just kind of died
a bit.
Because it's also difficult when you have LinkedIn,
multiple
you have
platforms.
Instagram,
exactly.
you have TikTok. I don't even know how you do it.
I know.
How do you balance it? How do you differentiate the content?
I know, it's hard.
It's so
I
difficult.
literally have different things on LinkedIn, different things on Instagram, and then and TikTok, and then
when I'm making
YouTube.
enough money, I need to hire a content planner or something.
Yes.
Someone that just tells me, Michael, this is what you post on here, this is what you post on there.
Absolutely.
Here, just make the video.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think that's why I've got a team, because it helps as well to have a bit of thought process ahead of time. But anyway, so people can follow you on TikTok, Instagram,
Correct.
and LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think the biggest value, if you're entry-level tech sales, is my TikTok.
Okay.
Right? LinkedIn is more it's not too much how to get into tech sales. It's more, I'm more
just
focused
to follow
on
your journey.
Just follow the journey, follow what I'm doing in terms of leadership. It's more that. If you're really keen about getting into tech sales, all the content on TikTok is geared towards that.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, before I became an influencer, I never used TikTok. So
You never used it. There we go
no,
then.
that's how I give people options because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
think, oh, I'm never really on TikTok.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
anyway, I guess people can join TikTok if they don't have it,
Correct,
just to follow you.
Up to you. Like, there are people that I met on my TikTok that I mean, I've done a couple of videos and I'm like, guys, like, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, go create one.
Yeah.
And there are people that have like, they'll message me and I'll be like, connect with me on LinkedIn. They're
Yeah.
like, oh man, I don't even remember my login.
I mean, yeah, I think everybody even needs, especially LinkedIn, to get
You
through
have to.
it in life.
You have to.
Really need
Absolutely
LinkedIn.
have to.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Michael. I've
Yeah,
really
you're
enjoyed this chat.
You're
Thank you so much for popping in
Yeah,
for
sure.
a chat. And
What
guys,
is that? I popped in.
yeah, I mean,
live down the
popping
road.
in from down the road, you know, all the way down. But really appreciate
No,
your time.
it's a pleasure. It was
Yeah.
really enjoyable chat.
And guys, I hope that was useful to you. If you enjoyed it, please let us know in the comments and get in contact with Michael. And like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.